dos, tres.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to your new favorite educational podcast, College Declassified, where we crack the trio code. I am your host, Patrick Sheard, and I am joined by my two lovely co-hosts.
Hello, everybody. I am Stephanie Rodriguez.
And I am Janika Jones, but I go by Jay.
Yes. And like I said, we are here to crack the trio code. So pretty much this podcast is going to be a podcast centered around education, which we provide educational tips to get students prepared for college, right? We're going to provide different tips and tricks, just to get students prepared for college. We're going to talk about financial aid. We're going to talk about dorm life. We're going to talk about classes. Literally anything that you can think of about college, we are going to debunk for you all. Yeah. But before we go ahead and dive right into a little bit about college, I want to introduce ourselves. We are new. This is a new podcast, first episode. So I want to introduce all of us. Of course, I'm the host, so I'm just going to go ahead and start.
Please.
All right. So my name is Patrick Sheard. Like I said, I am a District 205 alum. So I did go to Thornridge High School. I graduated in 2013. After I graduated high school, I went to community college for 2 years. I went to Prairie State College. Go Pioneers. And then after I graduated from Prairie State, I transferred to Illinois State University to get my Bachelor of Science in Communication, and I graduated in 2019. So,
you're old.
I guess you can say I'm old.
Very old.
Ma'am, who graduated high school a year before me?
2013 sounds really old.
Who graduated a year after me?
Anyway, whatever.
Y'all making it seem like y'all just graduated yesterday.
Yeah.
Whatever.
That's wild.
Anyways, hey guys. Stephanie Rodriguez here. Yeah, so I'm also a District 205 alum. I actually graduated from Thornwood back in 2014. So not too long after Patrick's old self.
1 year. Not that long.
Whatever. Right after that, I went to MSU, so Mississippi State University, where I also graduated with my bachelor's degree in communication, emphasis in broadcasting. So I'm very excited to be doing this. It's so fun to kind of dive in again.
It literally feels like home, right? Because we were both broadcast majors, so being in front of the mic is like second nature for both of us.
Kind of. I love the TV and the camera thing a little more. But yeah, so I'm excited to be working here really, because I know when I was in high school, I didn't feel like I was prepared for college as well as I should have been. I don't know if you guys feel that way. So I'm blessed to be in this position, to be just giving all this good information to students.
Okay.
And Miss J.
Then you guys save the best for last. Again, my name is Janika, but I go by J. It's much easier for everybody to remember. I am also a District 205 alum. I did go to Thornridge High School. Because we were Thunderbirds.
Falcons.
So unlike these lovely two, I actually did not complete. Wow.
That's
crazy.
Anyways, continue.
Wow. Did not finish college. I didn't finish college, but I am currently back in school. So yay me.
Yes. Is it okay to continue education?
Yes. Adult education at that. I am an outreach specialist. I'm the outreach specialist for the Talent Search program here. And then let's see, what can I say also? What did you all say?
That we're happy to be here.
Oh, yeah, you are happy.
We're happy to be here. That's all. We're just happy to be here. Great. So they gave their positions. I didn't give mine, and I don't know why I didn't do as such. I'm the program coordinator for the Talent Search program. This is my second day in that role. I just got promoted. Woo! But yeah, so pretty much what we are FCEA. We are the Family Centered Educational Agency. And the Family Centered Educational Agency, we house TRIO programs. So specifically our program, our agency houses 7 TRIO programs. And what we focus on me, Janika, and Stephanie, we focus on talent search. However, we do have a sister program, Upward Bound. And Janika, you were in Upward Bound. So if you want to kind of explain UB a little bit more.
Okay, so I was in Upward Bound from my sophomore year to my senior year. Upward Bound focuses on academics. Luckily, I was a very smart, bright child. I was number 4.
Okay.
But they do focus on academics. So if we fail behind in a certain class, they will help us bring up a letter grade. They also help prepare you for the SAT and ACT. Yeah. So from the start of joining the program, you were doing test packets like from years back, ACTs and SATs, so that you'll have a better understanding of what to expect on the real thing. And let me tell you, it works because I got a 27.
Okay, that's a good score.
Really?
20. It was between the 26 or 27.
Ooh, that's something I didn't know.
Can't
that's
relate.
I cannot relate either, honestly. Okay, when I tell you I was so thirsty to get out of that room.
Big
that's
same.
Another conversation for another day.
But Upward Bound, it was good. We did college tours. I went on almost all of them. Actually, I did go on all of them that went through the course of me being there. We had workshops. Well, what we do here, workshops, we do them virtually. We kind of did them on like Saturdays. So we'll get, bussed from. We actually was at Kennedy King Community College and also Perry State before, and there were like little off rooms, and we had like our sessions there. It was nice, and then we had summer programs too.
Nice. So pretty much Upward Bound just got you ready for the college education,
yes,
right?
I was
the coursework.
Ready in that sense, but because of
life, right?
Life. And
life
in my
happens.
academics. I just knew I was just too smart, and I was going to get everything based off my academics and then my sports and stuff that I played.
But that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
That's really why we're here for, is to kind of guide students the right path.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know, TRIO programs are nationwide. So they're not just for the south suburbs, which is where we're located, but it's a nationwide program. TRIO programs are educational support programs. They're offered not only at high schools, but colleges as well. So if you're in college or if you're in high school, it doesn't hurt to ask your counselor if those programs are available to you. Because I know I did not know that MSU had a TRIO program.
Yeah.
We were at, when you graduated, Upward Bound was at Thornwood.
Yeah.
Talent Search is kind of new.
Yeah, Talent Search. This is the 5th year.
FCEA. But yeah, you could have been joined in Upward Bound, you too.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I could have did Upward Bound. And like when I was in high school, I thought about it. And I was just like, do I really want to commit? And like now as an adult, I kind of regret not committing because it would have set me up for a way different future.
So was that what made you not want to join Upward Bound? From like your teenage mind, it was the commitment part.
For me, it was mostly the time commitment. But at that young age, I had 1,000 other things on my mind, right? Like when I was in high school, I had a different career plan than I wanted to go into than I do now, obviously. So things change, right? So like me being in the mindset now, I wish that I would have taken advantage of that opportunity, but there are probably still students like me, right? Who were in that mindset. Like, I don't want to do this because it's the time commitment. But little do you know, the time commitment is literally one of the best things that you can do because you get scholarship opportunity. You're prepared for college education. Like it's literally so many benefits of being in Upward Bound and being in Talent Search.
Let me tell you, I would think that I thought the same thing, but being the overachiever that I was, the time commitment, guys, is not even that. Like we will meet like towards the end of your class or during lunchtime or after class and on Saturdays, and I was able to juggle Upward Bound with the 2 sports that I played with: NHS, student council, mathletes, scholastic. So like I could really drown out all the activities that I was in on top of staying on my academics outside of being on the bowling league when I
Sis did a lot in high school. She was all around.
Yeah, so like that whole time thing, like it feels like a commitment, but like a huge commitment, but it's actually easy to factor in. Just think of it as an extra boost. Think of it as CP.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Just
the extra.
That's a good way to look at it, and it serves me to, motivate students to become part of these programs, because sometimes you want these kids to be part of these programs, but we don't know what's going on in their lives. So
Yeah.
it's a good way to look
We don't know
at
whatever
it.
hardships that they're dealing with, like family issues or living just in general.
Right.
Like we don't know what's
Especially in a pandemic setting. But that's also a conversation for another day.
how to deal with pandemia. Okay, but like I said, yeah. So that's pretty much what FCEA does. It's been around since 1997. We were founded by the amazing. When I say he's one of the most smartest people that I honestly have ever met. Dr. Jonathan McKenzie, kind-hearted. He's one of the literally. I can go on about Doc. Like he's
a really good boss.
Yeah, he's a great
To say the
mentor.
least.
Trust me, I'm going on 11 years of knowing him, so he's deep in our family at this
Okay.
point.
Now, of course, I'm still relatively new to the FCEA family,
Doc
but
McKenzie, if you're watching this, we're not just saying this, to be honest.
we love you, Doc. You know we love you. Okay, so this episode, we're going to do a 3-part series. It's going to be about the FAFSA. This episode is going to be about the FSA ID, which is your electronic signature to the FAFSA. Let's go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty of this podcast.
Yeah, tell us why we're here, Patrick.
So, like I said, we're doing a 3-part FAFSA series. So this episode, we are going to talk about your FSA ID. Your FSA ID is literally... honestly, the gateway, to financial aid in college. You need your FSA ID to, you have to create one when you start your FAFSA. That's the first thing that you do when you start your FAFSA. And the FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid.
For those who don't know.
For those who are unaware. And
Let's highlight free.
Literally, highlight free. Underline that. Underline it 3 times. It's the free application for federal student aid. And, starting your senior year of high school, especially for Illinois residents, because it is a graduation requirement. You fill out a FAFSA if you do plan on attending college that following fall. So you fill out your FAFSA. This is your gateway to grants. Federal grants. This is your gateway to federal work study, student loans, which we try to avoid, but most importantly, scholarships. So scholarships and grants are the 2 things that you want to make sure that you have a FAFSA on file filled out for. Stephanie, do you want to kind of go further into the FSA ID a little bit?
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, the FSA ID is comprised of 2 elements. It's a username and a password. When I'm doing FSA IDs with students, they think it's a number, right? Because, of course, ID. But no, it's not. So your FSA ID is literally your login and your password. To create one, you're going to need pretty much all the basic things that you would for anything else. Name, address, social security. A good tip is to make sure that you write your name exactly how it is on your social security card. A lot of people don't know that. If you have a middle name, make sure to include that on there. So that's how you create a FSA ID. It's a username and a password. Make sure to keep up with that information. I cannot stress that enough to my students because I know I lost my FSA ID password and username one year, and it took me literally almost a month to get back into it, especially because I didn't remember the security questions. When you create your FSA ID, they do ask you for millions of security questions, and I couldn't remember none of them. And you would think that the city of birth would stay the same, but for whatever reason, when I was putting it in, I must have been putting it in wrong. But it's just important. Keep up with that type of stuff. Write it down, email it to you, screenshot it, whatever it is you need to do. Keep up with your FSA ID login information and the security questions you use for those. Another good tip that I give students is create a professional email. Create a professional email that you're going to use for only school things and only work-related things.
Not little Nika.
Yes, exactly. Right. And part of the reason why I couldn't get into my FSA ID the first time I lost it was because I used an old email. I think it was like Steffi Bear 03 Hotmail. Like nobody uses Hotmail anymore. So don't use district emails. Students love to use their school emails. Don't use it because you're not going to have access to that after you graduate. So create a professional email. Make sure that you're only using that for school-related things, work-related things, and then create your FSA ID. And then keep up with all of that information.
And when it comes to like the security questions, like Steph said, you always want to pick security questions to where the answer can't change, right? So a lot of people will be like, what's your favorite color? You know, you fill this out when you're 17, 18, 19. And at that time, your favorite color could have been orange.
I had 2 in high school.
Right? It could have been orange or it could have been blue. And then now when you're 24 doing your senior year FAFSA, you're like, okay, well, what was my favorite color? Because right now it's purple.
Yellow.
No, you're right, though.
So make sure when you do the security questions for the FSA ID, it's answers that can't change. So obviously your city. The city you were born in. Now, for some reason, if the city you was born in can change, then you just... I just don't think you're doing something right.
I think I was putting in like... I don't know. I can't even tell you what. I don't know. But whatever.
Sure. Sure, ma'am. Sure.
But no, so make sure you do that. Make sure you ask input questions to where you're going to remember those answers. Like Steph said, it's important that whenever you create your FSA ID for you as well as your parents, that you have it written down somewhere. Email it to yourself. Have it in your Google Notes if you have a Gmail. Have it in your Apple Notes if you have an iPhone or whatever note system you have. Because, like she said, it takes a while to get back in once you can't find that information.
No, it does.
And you only have 3 login attempts. Because after the 3 login attempts is when it locks you out.
Yeah, resets. Now I really am glad.
No, 72 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 3 days. Oh, what'd you say? I thought you said all day.
I thought you said a day.
I said all day, but now that you're telling me 2
Yeah.
days,
Oh.
that's more like it.
But I'm like, but no, Patrick did hit something that Stephanie didn't touch, was the fact that your parent does have to have an FSA ID. Why? Because the government believes that you are a dependent all the way into the age of 24. So every year you do the FAFSA and you go to school, you will have to have this same FSA ID, and so will your parents, because they are, quote unquote, you're a guardian still until you're 24. There are instances where, you know, they won't be needed to sign your FSA ID for the time being, though. If you're a first-time FAFSA user, then yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's go ahead and have your parents set up. It's the most easiest step of the FAFSA. In my opinion, it's the most easiest. Mm-hmm. It takes about 5 minutes if you got
not
everything.
Even 5.
But for real, that's how easy it is. Like you just in there, and then it's like, all right, then everything is smooth sailing. Yeah. You know?
Yes. And if you are in a household where you have siblings who went to college, more than likely parent already has an FSA ID. You do not need to create another one. If anything, don't try to create another one because it'll only mess you up further. So parent needs an FSA ID, student needs an FSA ID, and you need this FSA ID to sign and submit your FAFSA.
Yeah,
That's pretty much the bulk of it all.
Not like any other online service. You can obviously do forgot password, forgot username. Mm-hmm. But like I said, after 3 attempts of trying to log in, it locks you out. So if you, after the first attempt, you don't necessarily remember what your username is, your password is. And also the good thing about the FSA ID is that you have 3 options when it comes to your username. Mm-hmm. It's either the username that you created, your phone number, or your email address, which is why we said put an email that you will continue to use after you graduate, and don't use your high school email address.
Yeah, if you guys didn't know, there's 3 ways that you can recover. There's the email. You can recover it from the email. You can recover it from the phone number that you registered, or the security questions, like Stephanie said.
Yeah.
I choose the email route because it's quicker. Sometimes with the the security question route, it will like put your account on hold for like at least 30 minutes, and you want to do it right then and there. So you know. When you do set up your FSA ID, it's good to verify and register an email and a phone number, because I only had 2 phone numbers in my lifetime, and luckily by senior year I have the same number. But you know, you might change your number, or like Stephanie said, you might use a different email. You never know, so it's good to register both, just for cushion.
pretty much what the FSA ID entails.
Yeah, and honestly, students, you can, even if you're a junior, you can create one right now. You can create it right now just so when you actually fill out the FAFSA. Fun fact, the FAFSA opens up every October 1st unless it is changed by the U.S. Department of Education for some reason. So you can always create your FSA ID now if you're a junior. One thing to note, though, is that your password will expire every 18 months. Okay. And that's kind of, I don't want to say that's miscellaneous, but that's one thing to note if you are a junior and create your FSA ID now. Yes. That password will expire every 18 months. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, and update your FSA ID information anytime contact information changes. So if you do get a new phone number, make sure you keep up with it because you might forget. And then when you're trying to fill out your FAFSA, you didn't know that you forgot to change your phone number. So just stay on top of it. That's all.
Yeah. And like we said, the FAFSA is a process that's going to follow you for the next 4 to 5 years of your collegiate career. Or however long you stay in school. Yeah, however long you stay in school. So we want to make sure that you at least know the proper ways to fill out a FAFSA. And that's why we're doing this 3-part series, just to make sure that you guys know this is what I need for the FSA ID. This is why it's important. This is what I need to do for the FAFSA. This is how I correctly fill out the FAFSA. And then the episode 3 will be life after FAFSA. So we're going to talk about the following steps after FAFSA, because even after you fill out that application, it's so much more that you still need to do. You're not done.
Exactly.
You're not done right then and there.
Not at all.
Well, we'll hit on all of that.
But we're going to hit on all of that. That's why we're here. This is going to be a weekly podcast where we provide all this information. Like I said, it's going to be educational. Some episodes won't be completely educational, but we will make sure that we have fun. We will make sure that we keep you entertained. For future episodes, we are going to do a question of the day where you will have the chance to send us an answer to whatever question that we pose via our social media, which also make sure you follow all of our social media platforms at FCEA Trio. That's FCEA Trio, TRIO, across all social media platforms.
Did you want to do a question of the day today for a fun fact?
Yes, we can do a quick question of the day. This one, our listeners won't respond to. This one we won't. But next week we will. Next week we will.
Go ahead and test me and Patrick.
Just go ahead and test me. Yeah. Test us out. See if we can answer the question right.
So, I am a legal citizen. I am a citizen of the United States, but my parents are not.
Oh.
Are they able to create an FSA ID?
Are they able to create an FSA ID?
Well, very good question, and thank you for bringing that up because we talk about FAFSA, but we leave out those special instances. So if your parent is undocumented, no, they cannot create an FSA ID. If that's the case, you will have to print out your FAFSA, get it signed, and send in, which is a longer process, but unfortunately, that's just kind of how the process goes now. Hopefully, they change it in the future so that students who have undocumented parents can fill out the FAFSA online and get it done quicker. But no, if your parent is undocumented, you cannot create an FSA ID. You will have to print it and send it out. But that does not mean you cannot complete the FAFSA. So for those of you who are undocumented or have undocumented parents, you can still fill out the FAFSA.
So if I have my social security number, I can sign it electronically. I would just have to wait for my parent
to sign it. Exactly.
Physically.
And then send it express mail. Yep.
Okay.
It's always suggested that you send it express mail so it gets there faster.
Yes.
But thank you for that, Stephanie. So like I said, we are going to do question of the week every week. Next week, you guys will have the option to respond to a question. Like I said, follow us at FCEA Trio on all of our social media platforms. Is there anything else that you guys want to add before we go ahead and wrap this up?
My email for those of you who want it, S for Stephanie, S Rodriguez, so that's SRODRIGUEZ at familycentered.org.
Okay, and then my contact is simple. J Jones at Family
With the
Centered.
basic last name.
Wow.
Whoa. Shots fired.
Yours is spell checked. So, J Jones at familycentered.com. .org. Please don't .com me. .org.
Her email.
.org.
Oh, goodness gracious. And And my email address is psheard, SHEARD, at familycentered.org. If you're in the south suburbs of Chicago, if you go to Thornridge, Thornton, or Thornwood, and you're interested in learning more about the Talent Search program or Upward Bound program, please do not hesitate to send us an email. Reach out to us on social media. But until next time, you all enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you both for joining me, and we will see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care.